So in the last class, we discussed about the uh, how to derive an equation of a temperature distribution in case of a plane wall, and we also calculated the value of the heat transfer. We took the case of constant thermal conductivity. It was a one-dimensional case with no heat generation, and we considered the steady state. And this is the three-dimensional conduction equation: del by del x into k del t by del x plus del by del y k del t by del y plus del by del z of k del t by del z plus q dot rho cp del t by del tau. Okay, so here this is the thermal conductivity in z direction, this is in y direction, and this is in x direction. And from this we derived the equation, and finally we got the answer of temperature distribution as T is equal to minus T1 minus T2 divided by x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. This was the temperature distribution. And finally, when we calculated the value of the heat transfer, we got the initial expression given by Q is equal to Ka T1 minus T2 by L. And you remember we can also write it as delta T divided by L by Ka. This is what we got from the Fourier's law of heat conduction also. Okay. So now we are going to talk about temperature distribution in a hollow cylinder in a in steady state one dimensional case, no heat generation, and thermal conductivity is assumed to be constant. Now you see here the diagram of the cylinder. Here you can see this is the side view of the cylinder. Okay, so this is the inside radius, this is r1 as shown here. This is the outer radius, it is r2, it is shown here. Inside surface temperature is T1 and the outside surface temperature is T2, and we are considering that the heat transfer is taking place in the radial direction. So this is the equation which is shown here. This is the equation for cylindrical coordinates, and it's a quite complicated equation, but because there are certain terms which we don't require. For example, if we see it's a steady state means the temperature won't be varying with respect to time, so this term will go, it won't be there. It's a one dimensional case, that means the heat transfer is taking place only in the radial direction, so there won't be any heat transfer in the angular direction or in the z direction, so this will also, these two terms will go. And there is no heat generation, and this term is for the heat generation, so it will also go. And we are left with only this particular equation, 1 over r del by del r k r del t by del r. So from here we can start actually. And similarly, as I told you earlier also, we have a generalized version of this equation, one dimensional equation. When there is no heat generation or it's a steady state case, we can use this particular equation where it is 1 over r raised to power n d by dx k r raised to power n dt by dx is equal to 0. And because we are talking about the cylindrical coordinates, so the value of n is considered as 1. And when we will put the value as 1, we get this particular equation. This is the particular equation that we will get, with the only exception there would be k in the brackets also. But because it's a one dimensional case, so k can be considered as constant and can be taken out of the differentiation part actually. And you can say that it can be written as k by r d by dr of r dt by dr is equal to 0. And then this term will go away when we take to the right hand side, and we are left with this term only, d by dr of r dt by dr is equal to 0. So this is the final you can say the initial equation from where we can start the integration part and can get the temperature distribution in a hollow cylinder. And the length of the cylinder here as shown is L actually. So let us first see, when we do the first integration, we get R R dt by dr is equal to C1, where C1 is the constant which is to be calculated from the boundary conditions. Then we can write it as dt by dr is equal to C1 by R. And then what we can do is to calculate the temperature T, we can integrate it once again. And when we integrate it once again, we get T is equal to C1 log natural R plus C2. And this is the basic temperature distribution equation with two constants C1 and C2. So once we get these temperature distribution equation, the next thing is to calculate the values of C1 and C2, and C1 and C2 can be calculated from the boundary conditions. The boundary conditions, as you know, when we were considering a hollow cylinder, we have considered that here the temperature is T1 and the radius is R1. So this is the first boundary condition, that at R is equal to R1, T is equal to T1. So that is the first boundary condition. And the second boundary condition is at R is equal to R2, the temperature is actually T2. So this is the second boundary condition. So we can put both these boundary condition one by one in this particular equation here. And for the first boundary condition, when we put it in this temperature distribution equation, we get T1 is equal to C1 log natural R1 plus C2. And when we put the second boundary condition, that is this one, then we get T2 is equal to C1 log natural R2 plus C2. And then we can subtract the second equation from the first equation, and we get T1 minus T2 is equal to C1 log natural R1 by R2, because C2 and C2 will cancel out after we have subtracted this particular equation. So from here we can easily find out the value of C1, which is given here as C1 is equal to T1 minus T2 log of R1 by R2. So we have calculated the value of C1. The next step is to calculate the value of C2. So what we can do, we can make use of any of these two equations. Either we can use this equation, or we can use this particular equation, put the value of C1 here in any one of these equations and get the value of C2. So let us see. So here I have used the first equation. You can see this is the first equation, T1 C1 log natural R plus C2. So C1 T is equal to C1 log natural R1 plus C2, and T1 is equal to, this is the value of C1. C1 is given by T1 minus T2 log of R1 by R2 into log of R1 plus C2. So from here we can get the value of C2. C2 will be coming out as T1 minus this term, T1 minus T2 log of R1 by R2 into log of R1. So this is the value of C2. So finally we have now both the values of C1 as well as C2, and this is the temperature distribution equation which we have derived after integration the uh, fundamental equation of the Fourier's law of the three-dimensional conduction equation after taking certain assumptions. So once we know this equation and we know the value of C1 and C2, we can finally get the value of the temperature distribution. And this is the final value of the temperature distribution here. T is equal to, the value of C1 is T1 minus T2 divided by log R1 by R2 log R plus, this is the value of C2. So it is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by log R1 by R2 log R1. And we can combine these two terms, the first term and this last term here, and finally you can see it is the first part, that means this part and this part is same, only difference is in the value of log R1 and log R. So then we will get it as T1 minus T2 log R1 by R2 into log R1 minus log R. So this is the value that we get. Okay, this is the clear expression which is given here. So finally we get T1 minus T2 log of R1 minus R2 log natural R1 by R. So this is the final expression of the temperature distribution equation in case of a cylinder. So we can calculate the value of the temperature at any radius r. So this temperature is written as a function of R, which is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by log R2 minus R1 divided R2 by R1 into log R by R1. And then what we can do is we can calculate the value of the heat transfer using this temperature distribution equation. As I have already told you that our purpose is to calculate the value of the heat transfer, which is very important, and can only be calculated using the temperature distribution equation. So once we have got the value of temperature distribution equation, we can always calculate the value of dt by dr, because this is the basic equation for calculating the heat transfer, given by minus ka dt by dr. And we can calculate the value of dt by dr either at radius r is equal to r1 or radius r is equal to r2. And the reason is quite simple, because if we are considering the radial heat transfer, so whatever will be the heat which will be transferred from the radius r1, okay, the same amount of the heat will be going out at the radius r2 also. So dt by dr can be calculated either at radius r1 or radius r2. Now, what is the area of cylinder in this particular case through which the heat transfer is taking place? That is given by 2 pi r into L. So, this is circumference multiplied by the length of the cylinder. So, this is the length of the cylinder. So, the total area through which the heat transfer is taking place is given by 2 pi r L. And we calculated the value of dt by dr initially. Let me show you the previous slides. Yes, here we have calculated the value of dt by dr, which is given by dt by dr is equal to C1 by R. So this is the value of dt by dr, and we are going to calculate this value at R is equal to R1. So the value of C1 is given as T1 minus T2 log of R1 by R2. This is the value of C1, and the R1 was already there in the denominator, so it is shown here. Okay. So now we have calculated the value of dt by dr, and then we can calculate the value of heat transfer coefficient, heat transfer rate, by putting the value of dt by dr in this particular equation. Okay, so it will be minus k. This is the value of area 2 pi r1 L multiplied by the value of dt by dr, and this value is equal to, which we have just calculated, and you can see this r1 and this r1 will cancel out, and finally we are left with 2 pi k L. So it is 2 pi k L, and this negative sign is inserted here, and it is on in numerator it is T1 minus T2, and denominator becomes log natural R2 by R1. Since R2 is greater than R1, so this term will be positive, and this is already positive. So this gives us the value of the heat transfer in case of cylinder, and we have already derived this particular equation without calculating the temperature distribution equation, and we remember that q dot was given by delta T divided by log natural R2 by R1 divided by 2 pi KL. So this is the value of the heat transfer in case of the cylinder. Now we can talk about the hollow sphere. Once again, we are considering the steady state, one thing, one dimensional case, and we are not considering any heat generation in this particular case also. So this is a, once again, a quite complicated equation, three-dimensional conduction equation for spherical coordinates. So you need not to worry about it, because we are considering the one-dimensional case. So we will be dealing with the first term only. This term will go. This term will also go. We are not considering any heat generation, so this will also go. It's a steady state, so this will also go. So we are left with only one term, which is the first term, and on the right side we have the value is equal to 0, and you can see it now. Uh, we can also use this particular equation, which is very much valid for the one dimensional case with no heat generation, and in case of steady state. So once again, for spherical coordinates, as I have written it here, the value of n can be considered as 2. So when you use the value of n as 2 in this particular equation, what do you get? You get this particular equation which is given here. So you can see it here, 1 over r raised to power 2 d by dr, because x is to be replaced by dr, dx is to be replaced by dr. It is written here. Then k is not written here because it's the one dimensional case and we can take it out, as I told you in case of cylinder also. So this can be taken out, and finally we are left with the equation d by dr of r square dt by dr is equal to 0. So basically we can start from this particular point. uh, why it is important to keep k here in case of single dimension or one dimensional cases, because uh, sometimes k can be a function of temperature also. K can be a function of temperature. In those conditions, the value of the k will vary with respect to uh, temperature also, as well as maybe with the direction x also it may vary. So that is why it has been considered in the brackets. Okay, now from this particular equation, what we do, we can integrate it first time. So we will get r square dt by dr is equal to c1. Then we can write this equation as dt by dr is equal to c1 by r square. And then we can integrate it once again. Then we will get t is equal to minus c1 by r plus c2. So this is the final temperature distribution equation that we get. So this is the temperature distribution, and in this equation we have two constants that we need to find out, and those two constants can be found out using the boundary conditions. So once again, the diagram of the sphere can be very similar to that of cylinder, only thing it's a sphere. And once again we can say that the temperature at the radius r1 is equal to t1, and the temperature at the radius r2 is equal to t2. So this is the temperature t2, and here on the whole surface of the sphere the temperature is t1. So this is the value of the temperature distribution equation. The boundary conditions are at r is equal to r1, t is equal to t1, r is equal to r2, t is equal to t2. So t1 is equal to minus c1 by r1 plus c2, and similarly from the second condition we can say t2 is equal to minus c1 r2 plus c2. And then what we can do is we can subtract here, and we will get t1 minus t2 is equal to minus c1 by r plus c1 by r2, and from here we can calculate the value of c1. So we can come to know about c1 from this equation. So you can see it's written here once again. The value of c1 is given as, you can see it, c1 has been taken common here on the from the right hand side, and finally this is the value of the c1 that we get. And then this value of c1 can be put in any of the equations which is given here, which either I can use this equation or I can use this particular equation and put the value of c1 here, here or here, and get the value of c2. So let us see how we have calculated it. So now c2, from I think from the first equation it is written here also. This is the value of t1. So c2 is given by, you can see, t1 plus c1 by r. Okay, so c2 will be equal to t1 plus, now what is the value of c1? C1 has this value, t1 minus t2 divided by this value of r1 plus multiplied by 1 over r2 minus 1 over r1. So from here we get the value of c2 also. Now these are the two values of the, this is the temperature distribution equation, this is the value of c1, this is the value of c2, and we can put these values of c1 and c2 in this equation, and when we put these values in this particular equation we get this particular equation which is shown here. So the value of c1, as you can see, first of all you have the minus sign, the minus sign is here, divided by r is here. Okay, then we put the value of c1, c1 is this value. So you can just cross check it, it is t1 by minus t2 divided by 1 over r2 minus 1 over r1 plus, now we have to put the value of c2. Now c2 is this value t1, so first of all it is t1, then plus plus and then once again C1. So this is the value of C1. Once again you can see it here, T1 minus T2 1 over R1. Yes, you can see it here because the R1 is already there in the denominator. So R1 into this value. So you can see this is the value of C1 and this is R1 which is already there in the formula in the value of the C2. So finally we can do some calculations and finally we get this particular value of temperature distribution equation which is shown here. It is equal to T1 minus T2 into R minus R1 over R2 minus R1. So this is the value of the temperature distribution in case of a hollow sphere. Then the first next thing is to calculate the value of the heat transfer. Now when you want to calculate the value of the heat transfer, uh, we have the relationship that Q is equal to Q dot is equal to minus Ka dt by dr, and we can calculate this value of dt by dr either at r is equal to r1 or r is equal to r2. And you know the area is equal to 4 pi r square in case of sphere, and the dt by dr value was given by c1 over r square. So this is the value of c1, t2 minus t1 divided by 1 over r1 minus 1 over r2, and here we have 1 over r square. So this value of dt by dr we can calculate at r is equal to r1. Okay, so this will change to r1 when we calculate the value of dt by dr at r is equal to r1, and then we can put this value of dt by dr in this particular equation, and finally we get q is equal to minus k, then area is 4 pi r 1 square because we are considering radius r1, so area is 4 pi r1 square. If we are considering the dt by dr value at r is equal to r2, then the area should be taken as 4 pi r2 square. Okay, so that you need to remember actually. Then dt by dr is given by t2 minus t1 1 over r1 minus 1 over r2 into 1 over r1 square. So r1 square and r1 square has been cancelled here, and we get 4 pi into k. So 4 pi into k. T2 minus T1 is written as T1 minus T2 because the minus sign has been absorbed here in this particular equation. So finally here we get R2 minus R1 divided by R1 R2, and finally it is equal to the heat transfer rate is equal to 4 pi k R1 R2 T1 minus T2 divided by R2 minus R1, and this can also be written as delta T, that is T1 minus T2 divided by R2 minus R1 divided by 4 pi k r1 r2, and this represents the conduction resistance in case of sphere, and this delta t is t1 minus t2. So that is how we calculate the temperature distribution equation in this particular case. So this is a part of the lecture. The second part I will start very soon.